Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of Blade Runner 2049. Tonight, I had the pleasure of doing a Blade Runner double feature that was pretty awesome. I had seen Blade Runner in the past, but I've never seen it on the big screen, and wow, does that movie hold up visually or what? Plus, the movie in itself is just a masterpiece. I know some people think it's overrated or whatnot. I love it. I think it is a staple in sci-fi cinema. So, I was definitely excited to see Blade Runner 2049, and it was great to have that refresher right beforehand. And it was also great because it perfectly demonstrated how seamlessly these two films fit together. But how does Blade Runner 2049 hold up on its own right? The answer? Pretty frickin' well. I loved this movie. So let's go ahead and talk about the many positives of the film. First of all, those visuals were astounding. Just like the original, the visuals are just mind-blowing here. I don't think there was a single bad effect in the entire film. It was just breathtakingly gorgeous. Everything about it. Beautiful. And what I really love is that we kept a lot of the style of the original. We kept it feeling authentic and in line with the first film, but it didn't feel dated. It didn't feel like an 80s style technology. It felt very much futuristic and present. It was wonderful. Also, big kudos to Denis Villeneuve. His direction was absolutely gorgeous. And a big part of that was the pacing was so good in this movie. It was almost 3 hours long, and it certainly did not feel that way. I was sitting in the theater for 5 hours, pretty much, of Blade Runner, and it just flew by like that. If I didn't see the time when I left the theater, I never would have believed the movie was that long. And that's just because the pacing is so good, the script is so good, the story is enthralling and gripping. You're never bored. You're never like checking your watch throughout. It is such a good film. I can't stress that enough. And as I said, a big part goes to Denis Villeneuve. He really brought to life a beautiful vision for this film, and I think it just worked to perfection. Also, big kudos to the actors. Everybody really brought their A-game here. Ryan Gosling didn't stretch all that far out of his norm, but he was on like top form for the Ryan Gosling norm here. Harrison Ford was probably the best I've seen him in a very long time. But everybody, all of our minor characters, all of our background characters, Robin Wright, Jared Leto, even though he has a very tiny part, they all were so good in this movie. It felt so real. And like its predecessor, it has a lot to say. It is a much deeper film than just this kind of like futuristic sci-fi film that it presents on the surface. I really love that we delve into what is reality. What does it mean to have a soul? What does it mean to be a person? And we get some really cool analogies with just simple composition changing on folks in the film, on memories, on love. There's just so much in here to unpack and dissect when it comes to the human experience in general, and I really can't wait to see it again because I feel like there's so much more for me to unpack and for me to notice. But even on first viewing, there's so much going on here that it's such a rich and intelligent movie-going experience to aid the beautiful visuals and the wonderful sci-fi filmmaking. As for negatives on the film, I really had to kind of stretch and think hard on what I thought didn't go so well in the movie, but I did think, and there were a few things that I looked back on and thought, wait a minute though. And the biggest one for me is that we kind of leave a lot untold. We kind of leave a lot of strings just open, and I don't know if we're leaving them open because they're ready for that next chapter. We left everything like open and ready for another film in the series, but there's a lot of characters that come in. They have somewhat of a storyline, they have somewhat of a story plot, but then it's never realized. We never see the end. And really, who we're thought to believe is the main villain kind of just vanishes at the end of the film. We don't see anything fully realized on the plan that's set into place, and we never really see any consequences from some of the actions that our heroes take with said villain. So I'm just interested to see if maybe they're hoping that'll be another villain, but as we've seen, don't plan for another movie. Make sure that you tell a complete story here, in case you never get that other movie. And I don't think this film fully follows through on that. There's also stuff to do with Robin Wright's character and what happens there. What's the follow-up? What's the repercussion that takes place? So, lots of open-ended storylines at the end of the movie. I also think our final battle sequence that could have been and should have been this awesome moment, it kind of is, but it's shot in such a dark light that it was kind of hard to follow and kind of hard to see. So a little bit of a disappointing climactic battle. But really, overall, I absolutely loved Blade Runner 2049. This instantly is one of my top favorite films of the year. If not possibly my favorite film so far in 2017. I absolutely loved it. It's nearly perfect. So please, go see Blade Runner 2049. It is so worth it. This is blockbuster filmmaking at its finest. Support this movie. It deserves the full price ticket. I would also implore you, if you haven't seen the original, or even if, like myself, you haven't seen it in some time, rewatch it before you go in. I don't think it's completely essential to see the original, but it will definitely make this a much better and more fulfilling theater-going experience if you watch it pretty close before you go into the theater. So that is my review on Blade Runner 2049. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below, and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Blade Runner 2049? Have you already seen it? If you have, what did you think? Let me know in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!